All right, I'm going to talk about joystick configuration today. And I actually had a question. Somebody was asking me, how do I set up my joystick? Well, let me get back into settings and we'll get into that here in a little bit. And I'm actually going to make an adjustment to my joystick. I'm going to move a button to somewhere else because I think it might give me a little bit of an advantage. So let me show you what we're up to. What we do is we go into settings. From there we go into control settings. And then from there we go down here to customize. In my earlier videos, this is the basic setup I was telling you about, so you'll remember that. Here's where it starts to get cool. You go to customize and you can see how I have my buttons set. So what I'm going to do is kind of explain a little bit to you. I don't really need to, I don't think. There's pretty self-explanatory, but essentially the button that I'm going to change is the eject button. Right now I have it set at number 6, which is a reach for my thumb to get to. And I'm going to change it to button number 2, which is actually under my thumb all the time. Button 1 is your trigger, button 2 is your thumb when your hand lays on the joystick naturally. So I think by moving the eject button to number 2, it'll help me eject faster and help me get fragged less, or let opponents score less on me, I guess would be the best way to say it. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the button that we wish for it to be, or where it is, the eject, and then you just simply touch the button on your joystick that you want it to set to, and voila, it's as simple as that. I've now reset my eject button to the button that falls directly under my thumb. So that should make it a little bit easier, I think, to get away from the bad guys, you might say. So anyway, now my problem is, what am I going to do with the button that I just erased? The reason why I use number 2 under my thumb is how I fire rockets when I'm playing a rocket game. But to be honest, I don't play much rockets anymore. So I think the reality of it is I'm just going to move that eject button to number 2, and I'm going to move the rocket button up so that I have to actually just move my thumb up and push. And so I'm going to move my rocket firing button to this button right here, button number 5, and ta-da, we're now done. And that's settings. So I'm also going to give you guys an idea of what kind of joystick I'm using, and give you an idea of where to get it. So in order to do that, we need to do this. We're going to back out of here, and we're going to quit the game, and we're going to go online to Amazon, and here we are. This is what I'm using. It's Logitech Extreme 3D Pro, and just to kind of give you an idea of how I just reset my buttons, this button here is how I used to fire rockets. It's now how I'm going to eject. The trigger under here is obviously how you fire your primary weapon. I moved my rocket fire button to here, and these are all set. You can look and see, but essentially the primary and the important ones are, you want your thrust right here, obviously, and that's pretty much the only place it can go, so you shouldn't have any trouble with that. How you set the buttons up is really to you. It's what works for you. There's nothing right, there's nothing wrong. It's whatever works. So I've shown you mine. That's how I like them. You set them however you want. But essentially, what I've got going on here, just for the basics, is thrust, fire, primary weapon with the trigger. This is now my eject button. And then my turbo button is right here. So as my left hand is laying on the game, I'm using my thumb and first finger to throttle and brake, and then my middle finger rests naturally on that button, so I don't even have to move my hand to turbo. So it's pretty handy to set it that way. I'm not going to get into detail as to what the rest of them are set for. It really doesn't matter, and they're not so important. It's really just important to set the joystick so that it works for you. So I would recommend trying it this way. I haven't actually tried the eject button here yet, but I have a feeling that's how my arch nemesis guy that seems to be able to out eject me, he's an insane good pilot. He's hard to frag, and I think that's why. I think this setting here for the eject button is probably the best place to put it. And then your primary weapons under there. And you can always reconfigure if you want. and put your rocket fire button somewhere else, it may be handy to put it down here or maybe even here. So my fingers reach this area naturally without even having to move hardly at all. So this would be a good spot for rockets, you know. But there again, you just do it however you want. It's no right, there's no wrong. It's what works for you. So anyway, this is the end of what I have to say today for this video. And I'm going to include some links so that you can go and check out this joystick online if you want. And maybe a couple other things we'll stick in there too, we'll see. But anyway, there you have it. Settings for Mac Part 2, the joystick. Thanks a lot, guys.